So hi Lisa. Hi Stephanie. Look, I called you. I saw Stephanie clearly.
People call me all of my names all the time. It's fine.
All women's names. So cool. So what
Mm.
we are going to explore today is the topic of sensuality, right?
Mm.
So sensuality within ourselves, sensuality with others, sensuality in nature.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a juicy, yummy topic.
So what comes up for you when I say that?
Yeah. Well, I think because I've been out and about this morning, and it's sort of noticing how, because I was feeling very in my body and very yummy and just in love with life, and sort of walking through the streets and noticing that it doesn't feel met. It doesn't feel like there are many other people walking down the street who are also kind of really feeling like, yeah, I'm in like this human body and it feels all this stuff, and I can feel the wind in my hair and the air on my legs and stuff, and it kind of doesn't really look like other people are really enjoying that very much, which is kind of distressing, but it's also kind of bizarre to me also, because then I feel I sort of feel like I'm enjoying it, but I also feel a little bit alone, you know and because I'd love to, catch people's eye in the streets and both be in that place and be like, yeah, and just just enjoying it together, because that feels so gorgeous and amazing.
Yeah, it's almost like the juice gets amplified when you can connect and meet someone else in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, that, like, so describe that feeling. So when you say like the air is caressing you, and like, what do you feel in your body? Like, how does it translate?
Well, I notice it feels quite, so for me it's very much, I'm very much in my pelvis when I'm feeling that really embodied state. And so it's almost like there's kind of a heaviness, but not in a sort of it's hard to move kind of way, but not in a sort of sludgy, sort of heavy kind of way, but just in this really like solid, like there's a lot of concentrated intensity in this body, like, and it's very alive and fluid. There's some kind of fluidity about it, and there's some sort of, it's almost like my body is aware that it's exchanging with its environment, that it's not some kind of encapsulated thing. It's like there's this exchange with the skin, and yeah, of course, if you've got long hair, you can feel that, and you can feel it brushing on you, and but yeah, it feels like there's an exchange with the environment, which is just gorgeous as well. Yeah.
I love that. And like when you speak, I can feel
Mm.
that. Like I can just feel the juiciness. I was outside just now, and I'm just connecting with the trees, and just feeling like I kind of asked for permission to connect to the tree, and then feel the energy and breathe with it, and then say, in your presence I feel, and I just feel into my body with actually what this connection with the tree is like in my body. And like every tree feels different, so this tree's got this more gentle energy, and this tree's just a little bit more powerful, and the one's like more motherly, just love. And I just like, I feel that, just that like deliciousness in my body, where like, oh, just feel like every cell is getting hugged by each other cell, and you're kind of like having a little party inside there, and it's like, oh, good. Like there's a whole orgy going on inside my body, like, and that's the beauty of it. It's like I don't actually need anybody else to give me anything. So I can access that on my own, and just by connecting to nature, because nature is making love in each moment. And like, oh, I just get to like hook in to that machine and just feel that in my body. And it's like, and I'm instantly in love.
Yeah.
Because nature is love. So
Right.
and yeah, it's like almost like in my heart I can feel like this like figure of eight, like like making love,
Mm.
like in each, like there's an orgasm, like,
So
yes.
gorgeous.
So I feel that like when I can just like just feel that deliciousness, and even just speaking about it I can connect to it, because it, you know, as you say, it's in being in the body, and being, and it's not heavy, it's just like the solid, like woof, like I'm here, and I've got all this in me, and I don't have to find ways to release it or to run from it, or to, like, I can, the more I increase my capacity to hold this energy, the more I can allow it. Yeah, it just feels juicier and juicier.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing that I get then as well, is like the more I'm present to it, the more and especially if I'm walking, I notice how it's, if I'm really in that energy, it changes how it feels to walk, and I think how I'm at my actual gait, and it feels so powerful. Then I really feel so connected to my power. I feel like a panther or something, you know, and it's really, there's all this, just this power and this energy in this whole body.
And you can meet, like, if you can meet the world in that, in each moment, then it's like we're making love in every transaction, in every encounter, just through being that, through that. And then how do we keep just like being more and more in the state of, I'm in love, and I'm going to meet the world in love, and meet this person and this project, and you know, where I can just continue that energy. But yeah, how do we meet others in this? And is there where there's, you know, it feels, because for me it feels it's a sacred space in my body. It feels there's no distortions, it's pure, it's natural. Like, this is our nature, this is our true nature. We have this creative sexual energy, and we have this beautiful body, and we have so much energy accessible to us if we're present to it, and we actually feel it, and we allow ourselves to feel it. And what if we had to meet each other from this place and not from our heads?
Yeah, it's like, it's so, I mean, I noticed it kind of in a regular environment, like out in the world. Like this morning I was in town, it's I can feel sort of this instinctual urge to kind of dampen it a bit, you know, if I do go into contact, if I do meet other people's eyes, because it's like, how safe is it to, you know, to actually go into, and obviously, you know, more so with men than with women, and yet the, you know, the desire to just be in that is so strong, and for me also, I can play, I like playing with it actually, also sort of looking at women as my sisters, you know, and being in that energy, and looking at men as my brothers and being in that energy. And then what can shift if I look at a man and I look at him as a man and a sexual being rather than as my brother. And, you know, and how, and what does that do with the quality of that energy, and what does the energy itself want as well? And it's so, it's so fun just to explore as well, because you notice how playful it is, and how many sort of colors or faces this really embodied energy also has.
I like that. What does this energy want? because for me it's like it's moving through me and it wants to play. And how does it want to interact with others that if they're in that same energy? So for me, it's like I have this longing to meet more people in this. And yeah, when I had that workshop last weekend, and other people were accessing their wildness, and I was like, oh yes, I have playmates. Like we can play and we can, and it's just somehow the amplification of that energy meeting each other that allows this energy to become the entity on its own, like almost just like moving through us and creating this dance that is completely not choreographed, it's just this, like, how do we allow this energy to move us rather than moving it, because then it creates this beautiful meeting. And it's like, we want to growl and we want to like
yeah,
it's like primal, it's like so natural. It's like I want to bring out all my and yeah, like a kitten and like a lioness and
yeah,
and it's just like juiciness of meeting and a woman is, yeah, somehow there's been this, like for me, this fear of connecting to women in that way, that they're going to maybe get the wrong idea, because I'm not really sexually attracted to women in that way, but like to be able to meet sensually in that way feels really beautiful. It feels really like, yeah, my nervous system just like, it's like like this like wash of like the shower of, yeah, it just feels so good in my body.
Yeah.
It's natural when we just allow that natural energy to flow.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels so nourishing. I feel like I don't even have that much experience of sharing that space with other women, but when I do, that's what I know. It gives me so much. It feels so nourishing and so
energized.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly, like nourishing, but with this component of also like just aliveness.
It's like this vibrancy, like the cells just like start vibrating.
Yeah, like, yes, like dense radiance, yumminess in my body.
And I experienced that, like, yeah, with men as well, where there doesn't have to be any like crossing of any sexual boundaries, but like meeting each other in that primal, like, this feels so good, like, because like our energy to like make love, like somehow making love that's happening without any penetration, without any other stuff in between. It's just pure. It just feels like, just get to play.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. And it's like you said, it's like that like when you can really just be with it in a safe context as well, and then just play and just let the energy come up and come out, and what happens, when that energy like meets another person's energy, like, what does it want, and tuning into that is like, so it does it, like you said, it becomes this dance, it becomes this incredibly creative exploration through the body, which is super rare for us to do as adults. I mean, okay, if you dance, then you have some experience of that, but and it's, to me, so the reason that this topic is also so alive for me right now is because it's so linked to my creativity and my productivity. So because my work is creative, and so I notice to be highly productive, I need to nurture my creative energy, and that's this. Yes. And we kind of aren't really taught tools for how to do that. Like, we're taught all the yang stuff of like how to schedule your time better and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that I mean, it's not that isn't also useful, but that is not something that nourishes and awakens and sustains this place, you know, this energy, which is where everything creative that I do in my life, i.e. my entire life, actually comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you said, it fuels that. It's like that aliveness. How do we bring more of that juice and aliveness to everyday stuff that could feel totally mundane? You know, it's like if you could be experiencing the same thing someone else is experiencing and it could feel completely mundane, but if you're in your body, like just meeting that moment and feeling it in that, yeah, like nothing feels boring.
Right.
It's like, oh, I can just sit here and be making love to myself right now. It feels really
yeah. So I think it's like, it's primarily, or it feels like it has a lot to do with attention, you know, paying exquisite attention
that's
to
the word, exquisite. Like that is the word. Like there is no other word that can actually describe that place of, like, and I see this X, like this masculine feminine, like somehow there's this crossing over that spot in the middle is like, oh, it's this exquisiteness. I'm just saying that word, it's like, oh, because it's like there's a grace, there's a deliciousness, there's a power, like it's like, and a clarity, like they all kind of meet there somehow, like in this place. They just cross over, like, oh, there it is. Yeah, saying that exquisiteness feels like that's, for me, if I can just keep accessing that in every day, then I feel like, wow, that's been a successful day. Come from exquisiteness, and that's bring that I meet, and I know that if I'm in that place, my partner he just drops into that place with me, and I don't have to do anything. I can, you know, if I just open up in that place, somehow others can just meet me there, just because I'm there. They don't even have to do anything. Just it's because it's such a being.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, it's the ultimate feminine, just being like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then someone can just drop there with you, and it's like, oh, yay. Yay.
Oh, I have to share that now. One of my friends once said that being deeply present with the feminine is like drinking hot chocolate, which I love. And that I was like, yes, that totally makes sense. There's some that it's really very like that, being in that space.
And yet there's it's almost like part of experiencing this is to have to let go of so much conditioning and layers of separation between ourselves and life and others, to be able to allow ourselves to actually feel this. It's such a, for me to go, okay, when I'm not feeling this, where am I? What's going on? Like I'm in my head, I'm worried about this, and so it's a great way to just check, okay, what's going on for me if I'm not, because this is my true nature, and anytime I'm out of that, I'm not in my true nature. So it's a great little bookmark.
Yeah, but so that brings us to the next question of like, so what do you do when you notice like, oh, I'm feeling kind of icky and contracted and like not flowing and in, you know, I'm not feeling alive and juicy and creative. Like what are some things that you do to shift yourself back then?
Well, for me, like how I see it is that, okay, so there's another layer, because there's layers and layers and layers. So whatever's going on right now, okay, there's something else for me here to learn to love. So it's like I have to, because that's the process, is how do I fall in love with every single part of life and every single part of me so that I can feel this. So what I notice is that when something's coming up, it's like, okay, I'm judging this as being unfavorable or as being something wrong with the state. Like, so I want to avoid it and I want to go back to this other state that feels so good. But in that, I am denying a part of me, and it's going to keep on coming up until I face that part and accept it and learn to love that part. So I must see it as a constant, like, oh, what is here that I'm resisting or that I'm not wanting to love? And so how can I just love even just the resistance? How can I just love this piece and this piece? So it's a constant game of falling in love, and sometimes we forget, right? Because I just see like we're either remembering who we are or we're forgetting who we are. And so in the forgetting, it's like sometimes I'm like, oh fuck, I've totally forgotten. And so and then it's like, okay, love this, and find my way back. But each time it's a new unfolding. It feels like, it's like, I can hold more now, and I can hold more now, and I can have more juice, because there's so many layers and there's so much of me to love. The anger, the rage, all of that stuff. Like, if I can just find the juice in that, if I can find the juice in my resistance, because it's like, it gives me something to push against, and that's like,
yeah.
So yeah, it's just, how do we see everything as energy and use that energy to in our bodies to bring us into our body, rather than the judgment of it or the label of it or the thought of what it is, and get sucked back, because I think that's what happens. You could keep getting sucked back into the head.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I love what you just said. Like, it's just, I always, like, a word that's really powerful for me is surrender. You know, if I notice, okay, I'm totally resisting what's here, it's like, number one, surrender the fuck to the now. This is what's going on. You know, and then being like, okay, like, you know, what's actually coming up, what's the lesson, what, you know, and processing. So then it's still kind of, well, it's like heart and head kind of working then, you know. And then maybe there's some energetic emotional release or whatever, that's, you know, and then very often I notice, as soon as I ask the question then of what my body wants, for me to really come fully back into my body, it knows, and it will tell me, and then I just have to go do that thing. And it might be, you know, just getting outside and taking some deep breaths, or walking or running, doing some kind of exercise, or it might just be putting on, like, a song will come into my head and I'll be like, oh, got to listen to that song, and just dance, or just shaking even. I love shaking. Oh god, it's so good.
Dancing, like
yeah, just like stomping it out, whatever.
See, it's because that's what it is. It's how do I can tell when my energy is getting stuck because I'm not moving enough, or it's like it's that trapped energy. I'm like, I can't access that. So how do I move that energy and allow it to move and connect to my body again? And I'm going out to nature is my biggest, just running my energy with the trees, because trees are they just bring life force to the planet the whole time. That's their part of their job. That's what they do. So like, okay, I can connect to this life force. It's like a fountain right here, and it's accessible because it's all life force, nature's life force, energy. Yeah.
So, and the other thing that I just, like, I don't know if I kind of said it before, but it's something that's really become my practice in the last year, is also just really getting more and more and more in touch with my senses. You know, to really not just be noticing everything through my eyes, but really, really be like that. Thomas Huber talks about, you know, your skin, all of your cells being little eyes. You know, so your whole organism is this receptive thing, and we can be receiving constantly, not only from our environment, you know, but also about other people, you know, and tuning in more to that sensitivity, like to also just allow my body to have more awareness given to what it's experiencing, you know, which strengthens it also. And then it's this, you know, this, the more noticing more and more it's sort of every interaction of my body with the environment, and savoring it, you know. And like food is such an easy way to do it, you know, just to really savor it. I ate watermelon last week and I was like in ecstasy eating this watermelon.
That's the beauty of presence. It's like really is just that, and I can, for me, what helps me is I just go meet the moment, Tracy. Just meet this moment, meet this moment, and then somehow I can just to slow it down. So if I'm outdoors, like, can you meet this moment, and allow it in. And can you meet this moment and allow it in? And then you can feel that there's just love. It's to slow it down, because that's like, I know that's I can just go in my head and and like, how do I slow things down? Yeah. Because that presence feels so vulnerable, right? Feels so vulnerable to just be still and allow this moment in, this love in, because it's actually so much. It feels really good.
Yeah. Oh, it's so, like, hearing you say that just even makes me like wistful and longing and sad in a way, like feeling the grief of our hectic society. Because the thing that comes up for me is very often I notice like this longing for slowness and to sink into the moment, and my brain is wired to say, you don't have time.
Yeah,
you've got to do this. You don't have time to go and sit under the tree and just be.
Totally.
And it's so strong, you know. And it has been. Sorry, what did you say?
No, carry on.
Yeah, it's this process of rewiring, of being like, no, actually that's the priority. Feeling good is my priority, and I need space and depth.
That's what I was going to say. It's the being. It's like the human being. How do we be first, and then from the being do, not the other way around. It's like, that's what we've got to nurture. Like, let's get our being, let's connect to that place in my heart, in my body that feels so exquisite, and then take action from there, because then I'm going to produce beautiful work in the world. And yet when we do and there's no space for being, then what is the point? Like, but I get you, it's such a conditioned thing, because it's like I can find myself in that, like, okay, I've got to do this, and then before I know, I've lost, like, I can't feel myself at all. I'm just like operating on some program, like I'm in a program, like, Tracy, like, go outside, lie under the trees and connect. This is all, and when I'm there, this is all that matters. Like, nothing else matters except my connection to love and to myself. And so this has been amazing. It's so good to have these conversations, to connect with this, because it just keeps reinforcing and it keeps reminding me, because it's hard when we're doing this on our own. Like, how do we create more of a tribe where we can connect to this juice together and amplify it? And because it's like we have medicine for each other. It's like, it's, I can feel the juice. Thank you.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like it's a lot about permission as well. I had a conversation recently with a woman, and we were getting into this whole topic of feeling good in your body and this the juice, you know, and really opening into it. And she was like, wow, it's like it's a little edgy to go there and be in that, you know, to share that space, even with another woman. Like, it's because we just don't ever do it. And if we really let ourselves sink in, it is it does connect us to our, you know, our primal nature, and most modern humans are fucking terrified of that. So I think it's
and you can
super
only meet
important.
people where they're at. You can only meet them where they're at.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
someone has to be able to access that in themselves so that we can meet in that. Otherwise, you know, they're going to think you're freaking crazy.
Right. So this is the thing where I also sometimes put the brakes on myself, because I don't want to be sort of freaking people out with, you know, coming on like with all of this like massive amount of juicy energy. I'm like, that can be a little overwhelming.
That's why I love having these circles where like people are like there's space for people to explore their own nature, and I'm like, oh, they can access this emotional energetic range, they can access this range, which means I have a new playmate. Which means, like, because I can access that in me, somehow people are going to be drawn to that and drop into that. And it's like, okay, cool, we're forming a tribe now, because there's so many people that are longing for this, that want to be able to feel this, and not because it's lonely to feel it on your own. Like, I don't want to, like, I feel like I'm in my own little world if I can't engage with people in that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I want that, yeah, where there's that giving and receiving, and that energy can play and dance and move and meet and come up against whatever barriers it needs to come up against to drop deeper. And yeah, so meeting people in that place is just delicious. Just
It is.
so let's
It is.
just keep creating that tribe of, yeah, delicious, deep, feminine.
Yeah. Oh, it's gorgeous to explore with you again, Tracy.
I always love, I always feel so nourished. Like, this is good medicine. Sweet.
It really is. I think we should officially call it that. It's medicine.
Yeah. Awesome, love. Okay, so should we catch up next week again?
Yes.
Is there anything you want to add as last little bits of the sensual part?
I had this image just now of something that I want to do. I want to go out and just like touch trees and nature and ground. And there's something for me that always really helps me to get into that space, is if I go on the ground, if I crawl, if I just touch the earth.
Totally.
It's yeah.
Crawl.
Yes.
And connect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's inspired me. I'm going to go dance tonight and
yummy.
those places.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, but we'll see you next week.
Yes. Yes.
Lots of love and yumminess.
You too. Gorgeous. Well.